So I know this is the thing going on right now. We've been watching it. We're watching. Be fucking for real. Excuse my language, but be fucking for real. I'm sorry, matching tattoos, deceased, Spotify playlist, deceased, I don't know what's wrong with lesbians sometimes. And also just as people, I think like we want to be loved too bad. But these two, be so for real. And this girl, Dana, oh, she playing the game. And like I low key, like in that aspect, I feel for Mel. Because like Mel is kind of like falling into it, which I've dealt with the Gemini before as a Taurus, and like it is an intoxicating feeling. But Mel is like really leaning into this Dana thing, and she's just kind of like skirting around the fact that she just wanted to smash, and that's all it was. And she wanted to pick someone that was similar enough to her ex that it would make her jealous, and it did. It backfired on her. And shout out to Megan for really standing on big business for real. When everything she was saying in that last episode eats. You know what I'm saying? Now, I got some honorable mentions. I don't see a lot of people talking about these two, right? Marita, I had low hopes for you in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. It's just because of how that last the last season played out with the blonde girl. I was really not feeling you in the beginning, but like low-key, you have so much to offer, and like the being around like the right person made you like so goofy, which I think is like an admirable trait. And it seems like that might be being suppressed a little bit. I wonder if it's because of like age difference or whatever, or just like whatever. But it seems like you don't get enough time to really like explore different aspects of yourself. And I hope that after this you get that, cause low-key, your girl is kind of boring. Like, she's boring, and also she seemed like way too aggro about when Brittany was saying like really kind things about you. And I feel like because your relationship was kind of for play anyway, and y'all were just besties sharing a bed, why would someone be so mad that they're just like spreading positivity and pushing positivity into you? All right, baddie, talking about A1 Caribbean Carnival Twerk Fest. Yeah, I kind of hate this because like it's low-key gives colorism to a certain extent. Like, this is a beautiful woman, and she came with someone that everyone was falling over for. And I understand it's because like there's a short supply of masks and everyone be trying to see what that's like, but like they really miss the Dom Film era of Britney that they could have had. Like, maybe too, she didn't want to really talk to that many people because she don't really like people that are not of color. But also too, like, I'm surprised more women weren't trying to get at her, because like she's kind of like the final boss of like a woman, and just like seeing her stand up and speak out for people. She takes her time, she reads the situation, and then she clocks what needs to be clocked. And I just feel like that's a really admirable feature. And I really feel like low-key she didn't get the time and respect she deserved because, from the other cast, because of her skin color. And I just think that, and I know everyone's like, oh, it's not always about race. Yeah, it is. Because like there's a reason that we flock to the things that we know. Let's be so for real. And because why wouldn't you guys want to, like, y'all were fighting, no shade, no tea, but y'all were fighting over Pilar when this woman was standing right here. Come on now. Let's be for real. And they're both women of color. But what color is it? All right. Last but not least, girl, if you don't stand up, you remind me, and it's crazy because you remind me so bad of an ex of mine, and like in a very toxic point of my life, I treated her exactly like, not exactly, but I treated her similarly to like how Mel is treating you, as far as, well, I didn't go to full 9 of physical of anything, but I definitely emotionally cheated on her, and then she just kind of dragged her along. And because she was so sweet and so caring and like so forgiving and so willing, you know, so needing of like love, she pushed a lot of shit to the side until I ultimately just left because I was a piece of shit, like, to be honest, you know. And like, I know that you're watching this and like you're like crying and probably like screaming in the corner somewhere, and that is okay. Like, you deserve all the time and the space you need to process the fact that like these people really played in your face, and like because of like wherever you were in your headspace, even though I feel like sometimes you were saying things but the way your face looked, it wasn't matching up with what was actually in your head. And I respect that. Like, I love a low-key like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you on the sidelines, and I guess we'll see tomorrow what you do. But like, you really, like, you are a beautiful woman and you deserved so much better than what was given to you. And like, circumstances put you with this person, but circumstances also gave you the opportunity to leave. They're doing some weird construction out there, and I really hope you did leave. But yeah, like, don't let her play in your face. Don't let anyone play in your face like that ever again. Like I said, you remind me of my ex so bad. And like, I actually went back later in life and dead apologized to her because I treated her so terribly. And I hope Mel comes to that point in life, but also you don't have to give her the space to apologize. Our situation was a little bit different, so she did, but you do not have to give her that space, because like, that is so dirty what they're doing to you, and like, you really deserve so much better. I hope you do. Anyway, that's just my little 2 cents on like everything that's going on. Feel free to comment, add in, but like, yeah, it's getting crazy. I'll catch y'all at the end of the week when I finish watching the rest of them. All right, part two. All right, so we're gonna get into the drama just real quick, because honestly, like, I think the way this is wrapped up, it is what it is, right? Like, you know, I feel most bad about Marie, and everything else is kind of like, it is what it is. But let's talk about Haley and Megan real quick. You cannot tell me after watching that there is not a version of Haley and Megan living on in another timeline. I feel like, unfortunately, it was super genuine, you know, what they created in those 3 weeks together. I do think it was super genuine, and I think like that, whatever happened, that created a rift somewhere, and like in another time and place, they knew each other, whether they want to admit that or not, right? As far as like, okay, so I watched that pre-clip. Someone told me to watch a clip, and then like they chopped it up though. Like, so when watching the show, it wasn't the same as like the clip that Netflix dropped about their conversation, right? In that conversation, it basically seemed like Haley was saying, "Oh, you said you were in love with me," and then Megan said, "I never said that." But that's not really what happened. Like, they pulled it out of context, right? I do think the way Megan delivered the "I don't want to do this, I want to focus on Dana" could have been done way better, but I do think she got to the point. Some of us are not used to being communicated to at a level where it's like, I'm saying this is what that is, and like there's no wiggle room for arguing, right? The reason there's no wiggle room is because she only knew her for 3 weeks. And she has already made up in her mind that she is going to push forward with Dana, right? I think the most messed up thing Megan said in all of this was asking Haley to apologize to Dana. And we all know she did that because she's golden retriever. And that's fine. Hey, that's the life she want to live. That's why she want to live. Like, whether she told Dana, "No, I did it for me." No, she did that so that when Dana watched this later, she could be like, "Oh yeah, like my boo stood up for me." Okay, that's crazy though, to look at a woman that, you know, you're like, "Oh, if you want to be friends with me, you're gonna have to apologize to my girlfriend." Are you gonna apologize to mine? Come on, make it make sense. Make it make sense, right? Overall though, like, I don't think the conversation they had, I think at the conversation they had at the cocktail bar, it was finality and it was closure, and it should be perceived as such. It wasn't the best communicated, but it's the best I can expect these two people to communicate. People who are coming from relationships and family backgrounds that don't offer a lot of open communication to begin with. And even when Haley and Pilar were sitting down with their dad, her dad said, we don't talk about our feelings enough. So like, y'all have to understand, like, these are severely like underdeveloped emotionally people, a little bit, not severely, but like a lot of them are not developed all the way when it comes to like expressing their emotions and feelings, like most humans. And we just have to like take that as it is. I think this could have been the cleanest separation they had. It was love lost, but also growth found, right? And I think we just have to take that for what it is. But I do believe somewhere they created a canon event, and like there is a version of themselves where they chose each other and they walked off into the sunset, you know? But unfortunately, that's just not the version we got to witness. And we have to accept that for what it is. Give me one sec, and I'm going to be back with Dana and Mel. Alright, like I said, drama. We're gonna dead it right here. I do believe these two got to run away scot-free into the sunset. Like, I know they didn't run off together, but I don't think they paid enough retribution. You know, I feel like maybe Mel is hurt losing Marie, but the thing she said about her, she couldn't have been surprised that she was going to break up with her, right? Like, I mean, we saw that all coming from a mile away. I'm glad it happened a little bit before the actual airing of the show, or they found out, like, what the show had in store. But, like, yeah, but the smiles, the still finding a loophole, the not just speaking your truth. Yeah, Dana facilitated, again, her being able to scapegoat. It's like, y'all are not together. If they want to see if she feels like she lies or not, that is everyone's business. Y'all signed a contract and put yourselves on TV. We're not asking how you did it and exactly what you did. They ask, do you feel like you cheated? And that is a valid question. And I feel like time and time again, like, and I'm like not understanding, because you're saying you're growing, but time and time again, you're seeing people enact toxic and deceitful behavior, because that's deceitful behavior, and you're allowing them to give them a scapegoat. Like, you did not need a scapegoat. Mel is a grown woman. She can handle she should be able to handle any questions thrown out at her, and nothing should have ever came out your mouth, right? Like, you put yourself on the chopping block, and then when called out, you have to, the back end. Oh, yeah, you're right. Like, just stop talking. Stop yelling. Stop fighting. Like, you were in the wrong, and that is what it is. And there's a woman hurt, and there's people confused, and like, how come your partner and what she did gets to be blasted off all over the internet, but you and Mel still get to find this little loophole where y'all don't actually have to confirm if anything was done or not? Like, I'm sure you and Megan talked it out. That's okay, cool. But like, not everyone gets the same kind of clarity. And I would argue to say that is the public's business to some extent. We're not saying we want to know all the little dirty details, but we want to know, like, do you feel any remorse? It's giving no. It's giving no. It's giving guilty, and it's giving no. And it's giving, like, y'all want to make sure it's as vague as possible so that you can clean up whatever you need to clean up however you want to. And that's your prerogative, I guess, at this point. The world may never know. But yeah, like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that they got off so scot-free. They get to run. Like, they get to go do their bidding, you know. And oh, yeah, and they got to run off into the sunset and just do whatever and, like, live their lives. Also, I'm just now realizing that this woman is 25 years old. That's tough. I hope that, like, I hope y'all go to therapy. Especially you, Mel. I hope you go to therapy, and I hope you learn why what you may have did was wrong, and why like you can't let people like this co-sign the BS, because you will continue to run yourself into a hole and run into places that you can't seem to get out of easily. Yeah, and that's about all I gotta say about that. All right, I finished it. Let's get into it and wrap this up. Season 2, The Ultimatum, Queer Love. Our girl Marie. I will say, like, I don't have much to say. The reason I'm doing her video alone. So this is gonna be a four videos, and I'm doing her video alone. All right. Watching her crash out was incredibly sad. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like we've all been there, and it was just incredibly sad and incredibly vulnerable that this had to play out like that in front of like the whole world, and also in front of a group of people who trigger you. You know, this cruel experience happened to her, you know, and she did facilitate some of it with naivety, but did she deserve to be treated like that? No. And did she deserve to have that wound reopen? I really don't know why she agreed to come back to a reunion, because like she basically just reopened a wound and she lashed out, and I don't think she was necessarily angry at the people there, but more so angry at herself. And like that's felt, you know, that's real. It just sucks, because like that is just like that's so hard to come back from. But I do hope that she is able to take the time and the space and like truly heal after this and vibe and do her own thing, because like, yeah, like it was just, it's messed up all around. Like, do I think she should have acted like that? No. But that's now her burden to carry. But do I understand why she acted like that? Absolutely. You know, and I think a lot of us would if we were put into this situation so publicly, right? It does suck though, because it's like she lashed out so hard in the beginning, she didn't even get to really like get at the people that probably deserved it the most. And I'm not saying anyone deserved, but like, you know, there are definitely people that like that anger would at least been useful towards, right? So really, like, honestly, when it comes to Marie, sad she went out like that, but also like I hope she is finding her peace. I hope she's finding herself. She don't need to be with no one else. I hope she is finding herself and like doing her thing and getting better. And I hope when she comes back around in a better headspace, that maybe if she finds it necessary, because for me, I did an apology tour, you know, at one point in life, and it wasn't like a long one. It was like a couple of people, but like I still apologized because I felt like y'all didn't deserve what I was giving you, and I was just in the wrong space for that. So if she comes back around later and feels like she would like to do a little bit of an apology duo to a couple of people that probably did not deserve her anger, I feel like that'd be great, and I hope that they'll hold space for that. Side note, if you made it this far, leave an emoji down in the comments, because this is like an opinionated tidbit that I just think is kind of funny. All right, after all that, I do believe that if Marie has dated men in her life, she's going to date a man after this experience. I don't know, something about how this all played out. I think we lost one, team. I think we lost one. And like, if that does happen, like I hope it happens way in the future. I still hope she works on herself and heals. But for some reason, something about this says she's gonna pop out in 5 years, married to a man with children. So yeah, let me know what you think. So this is gonna be part 1 of Queer Love. We're wrapping this up. All right, part 3. All right, we're gonna do a little speed round. People in their final matchings. Okay, these two, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I hope it works out. I hope you're secure and comfortable in your positions in each other's lives. You know, at the end of the day, like, they chose each other, and I can't be mad for both of them mostly standing on. I feel like Megan's standed a little stronger on business when it came to like dating Haley, whereas like it did seem like Dana tried to leave this window open so maybe Mel could possibly come through, and I'm incredibly proud of Mel for just being like, no, like she knew that she really wanted her, and so she decided to cut her ways. I mean, I feel like that's pretty, like, that's probably the most admirable thing Mel did this whole time. I will say, like, I mean, I know, like, they've been together almost 3 years now. I mean, I've almost been together 3 years with my partner, and, like, we have talked about marriage, but, like, we're in no rush. But, like, when they came on this show, y'all had only been together a year and a half, and I feel like that alone is what made, like, eventually y'all would have got there. I do think maybe it did speed things up for Megan a little bit, but I do think had you given it another half a year, like, you would have gotten there. She's from as someone who's also from, like, a family that's, like, like, you know, my mom not sold on much of anything. And, like, it takes time. And, like, having a partner be respectful and understanding of that has been, like, the most warming thing for me. Like, sometimes, like, you just need, like, I understand, like, you may not have understood where Megan was coming from, but, like, these things are hard. This is a hard place in life to navigate when you are being yourself, trying to be yourself to your fullest, and, like, the people that, like, raised you, that you were supposed to be able to rely on in the times of anything, are basically, like, saying they don't want you. Like, that's hard enough without, like, then being in a relationship and that person being like, but why can't you? And it's just like, you know, you get to have your parents there. Why can't I at least try to work towards that? You know, that's all I'm saying. And I feel like that was already, like, not great. And I'm glad, like, and I hope y'all are working past that and, like, y'all are able to move through that. But, like, I feel like what y'all needed was time, and you came on national television. That's it. That's all. But, like I said, wishing all the best. You like it. I love it. I'm glad, like, things are progressing forward. But, like, yeah, it seems like this could have been handled off. All right. The corresponders, Haley and Pilar. 10 years is a hell of a long time. Y'all met when y'all were teenagers, and now, like, y'all are fully grown women. And I can understand wanting to move into the next steps of your life. I do. And it's the same thing with Megan. Like, I do wonder how, like, this experience will affect y'all as time go on. Like, as a Taurus, which I found it so interesting that, like, this season had so many Taurus on it. Like, that's, like, a whole different thing. As a Taurus, though, I have a lot of things that stick with me in the back of my head. Like, I'm constantly ruminating on, like, experiences, you know, whether it be bad or good. Like, not in a bad or good way, like, but, like, there are things in my life that just play over and over again. And even though I continue to move forward and trudge on, like, it's just, like, as I go to sleep, like that little clip of something plays on. And I wonder, how are you two going to keep moving forward with that? Like, I hope, like, because Haley does seem like the more sensitive of the Taurus pairing of Haley and Megan. And I feel like with Megan, like, I understand the closed offness, so, like, she's definitely, like, stuffing it way deep inside. Like, it's gonna be in her head, but she's not gonna ruminate on it. But I feel like for Haley, it will always be like she sees a little bit of this glimpse of what happened and what almost was. And, like, I really hope, like, y'all are able to move and work past that. But y'all were together for a really long time, and, like, it is very normal, I think, to grow up and grow apart, and sometimes need a break from each other. And that's fine. And if you guys find yourself needing that, that doesn't mean you won't find each other again later in life. I just think you have to hold space for the fact that, like, maybe you guys are becoming two different people. And that's okay. And there are a bunch of other women that are waiting at the door, lined up, waiting for you. And I would like to say, like, for the Megan and Pilar's like, their family life situation, I will say, like, I understand it being, like, one, I'm at this age and I want to move on, I want to get married, I want to have kids, like, I want to do these things because, like, I'm getting older. And two, I can understand how you don't want to introduce yourself to one partner but then all of a sudden be like, oh my gosh, but, like, I actually found someone that may be a better fit. Or also, like, okay, like now that I'm seeing it's easy for you guys to accept me and love me for who I am, maybe I do want to just explore a little bit more. And I hope that never comes up in your relationship, but I do see that being a future cog in the machine, you know. But again, wishing you guys all the best, hopes it works out. And like, you know, that's all I can really say about that. Like, for both of these couples, I hope like y'all can get past that very strong and noticeable emotional connection that happened. All right, speed round, part 4 and final part. So Kyle and Bridget, as Bridget had mentioned already, we didn't really see a lot of their trial marriage, and we didn't really see a lot of their come together, their like other marriage. You know, I think their proposal was cute. I also think they skipped steps. You know, I feel like I don't know why they were here. Honestly, their relationship seemed pretty sound. I mean, besides some communication issues, therapy, that's what we're saying. You know, a lot of these women needed therapy, and they came on national television. It's kind of crazy. I will say, I feel like they relied very heavily on she, her pronouns for both of them, even though they both express, like, have they in their thing. And I find that kind of interesting. And I would have liked to heard more of a diversity of pronouns. Maybe I wasn't listening correctly, but I feel like they didn't diversify the pronouns enough for me. They did end up saying yes to each other, and then they just end up moving together. Also, again, throughout this whole thing, none of these couples got married yet. It has been a year. It's like this huge ultimatum thing, but then they got engaged, and it's like, that's enough. You don't find that suspicious? Anyway, yeah, like, very cute. I do think they should have just moved in together first, seen how that felt, and then like the idea and thoughts and talks about marriage would have come back alone up again, and Bridget would have felt a lot more secure in that decision because you guys like have made all the steps, and that's the next step. Anyway, wishing you guys peace and love. On to the next couple. All right, AJ and Brittany. Okay, I mean, I kind of like saw them getting back together. It didn't really seem like anyone was their flavor enough to make them switch up. I think AJ, you scored a bad bitch, and you didn't realize she was gonna be that bad of a bitch until like she started putting the fire up there, you know. And that's fine. Like, it happens, you know. In relationships, we often talk about how much we're going to grow, all the things we're going to do, and like all of our goals and dreams and things we aspire to. And then, you know, those things start happening, and it may not happen in the way that you thought it was. Like, when you expressed those dreams, you talked about them as a togetherness, and she was talking about them as like, yeah, like, we are going to be together while we do them, but like, these are our individual goals. And I just think it took you, like, her actually like doing them for you to realize, like, oh my gosh, like, I have to like this woman's not going to hold me up the entire time. Like, you know, she's not going to wait for me. And like, I hope that's what you took out of it. But I will say, an insecurity of being with someone that is progressing at a speed that you don't feel like you can compete to can eat you alive, and I hope it doesn't. Like, this woman is fired. Keep this woman close by your side. All right, there are masks out here looking for them. Not me, I got mine, but there are masks out here looking for her. You know, so just do what you gotta do, level up, but know that leveling up takes time. Like, you know, we always talk about chasing the bag, and especially as people of the Black community, we talk about chasing the bag and like bettering ourselves, but it does take time, and like, you need to be able to be taken care of while that is happening, but making sure like you got your eyes on the prize. Like, your bag, it's there, you can see it. Just go get it. Like she said, just go do it. Don't wait. Do it now, and you'll be all good. But don't let that eat you up inside. Like, let her do her boss bitch shit. Let her level up and continue to level up. And you just make sure you're like, when you're looking at her, you should use that as motivation, not as defeat. All right. Next couple. Last but not least, not motherfucking least, this is honestly, like, Marita surprised the hell out of me through this season. And I will say, okay, before we get into that, I don't think the commentary on the elderly was necessary. Okay. But I do think, unfortunately, Marie opened her mouth and she was so angry, and Marita grabbed that anger because she's a Pisces, she's a water sign. She takes that in, it becomes her, you know. Water flows into whatever shaped glass you put it in, it conforms to that. And I feel like she pushed that angry energy out. Marita felt fed into it, and what came out of her mouth was not the most appropriate statement, right? But that being said, some of y'all be thinking it and just don't say it because of niceties. Because I will say, Ashley 100% brought up her relative because Marita brought up hers, and like she wanted to switch to victim blame. I think there has been a pattern of Ashley like twisting words and manipulating to gain the favor back on her. But the whole time she was telling Marita, I hear what you're saying to me and I'm not willing to do it. She would say, I don't know why I can't. I don't know why I can't. Girl, it's because you don't want to. And that's fine. But you saw a bird and you put it in a cage. Point blank period. Y'all, I don't know what else is going on in y'all seemingly what seems to be a very toxic relationship that was. But I am so glad it's over. I think that was like the best thing that could have happened. Like, it went from like, oh, these two are boring to like, wow, y'all have like some very essential foundation. Like, the foundation was all the way cracked. And like, you cannot go forward like that. I also wish both of y'all the best going forward, and I hope y'all live two separate individual lives, very, very far away from each other, because that I hate you, I'm not going to say the other words, that came from the chest. She meant that, and I hope you know she meant that. And that's why you got up and started crying, because you felt that was finality. That was the closure you needed. She's not coming back. She's moving on. She's doing her thing, and like, more power to the both of y'all. And I hope that therapy, okay? All right, so and that's all I got, really. Like, that's all I got. That was too much. It was too much for like almost nothing, just to say like, most of y'all need therapy. Most of y'all need to learn how to communicate with people. And also, you need to know that like, just because you like something, not everyone else likes that. When you get with people, you learn how to love them the way they like to be loved, not the way that you like to be loved. Then you tell them how you like to be loved, they'll love you that way. And then you love them their way. And if you can't do it, y'all don't need to be together. Anyway, I wish all of these ladies the best in therapy. I wish all their therapists the best in therapy. And I love y'all boots. See you next time.